Gender refers to the roles, responsibility, rights, relationship, and identities that are given to women, men, and non-binary people in a certain society and context. We can see gender and we can see what women, men, and non-binary people can do, but it's harder to see how people value them. All genders have roles in the production of goods and services in public life, from the community to the government level. Gender studies have become more popular in recent years because men and women are different in a lot of important ways. The number of women working in factories grew a lot in the 20th century. 42% of the world's workers are women and they are helping their country's economics. A Belgian study, on the other hand, found that transgender people have high unemployment rates, although they are highly educated. But compared to Malaysia, in 2019, only 20% of all jobs in Malaysia are held by women, and the employment rate of the non-binary people is unknown. There are not many studies that look at how men and women and also the transgender employees react to the same harmful chemicals and biological weapons. The first or the main objective of this report is to find out what kind of work-related problems all these people, whether they are women, men, or non-binary, have. The main issues that are looked at work-related stress, workplace discrimination, and workplace safety. A comparison method is used to figure out the risk based on who is most and least likely to face the occupational hazards and how to control the risk.
Hi, my name is Nushaira and I will proceed with the discussion about men at work. So the first one is regarding the job stress, which is according to the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health 1999. When workplace demands do not align with a worker's abilities, resources and requirements, job stress is a negative physical and emotional reaction. Chronic or excessive work stress is a risk factor for mental health problems, accounting for 13% of depression among working men, and about 73% of them were not even aware they had a problem. So in Malaysia, for example, there are about 5.8 million employees, or 70% of employees, who suffer from high level of work-related stress and hypertension. Meanwhile, in China, frontline workers have a particularly intense burden due to the complexity of their jobs, which often require them to execute in dangerous or cramped conditions. Next is the hazardous working condition in the construction industry. So due to multiple work-related health risks, construction industry ranks number 1 in workplace accident, which slips, trips, and falls is the leading causes of injuries at construction sites. We can see another example of injuries such as in Malaysia. Eye injuries among construction workers are a growing concern due to the increasing number of ophthalmic emergencies in emergency departments. Meanwhile, in India, construction workers who work 10 to 12 hours per day are exposed to the direct sunlight with an average daily exposure of 7.94, which can lead to sunburn or skin cancer.
Assalamualaikum and good day to my lecturer. My name is Nur Hidayah bintu Zulkifli. Metric number is 277629. I will continue my part, that is women issue in the field of occupational safety and health. So first, workplace discrimination for women, that is sexual harassment. Sexual harassment can be described as unwanted sexual advance, unwanted requests for sexual favors, or any unwanted sexual activity that causes a person to feel humiliated, embarrassment, or afraid in a situation where a reasonable person would expect such feeling. Sexual harassment is illegal in certain situations and forms under the Sex Discrimination Act 1984. Here are some examples of sexual harassment in the workplace. Share with your colleague any pornography or objectionable photos or video, sending abusive letters, notes or emails, and posting or displaying obscene material in the workplace. Next, women are especially vulnerable to musculoskeletal injuries at work, accounting for 60% of all work-related repetitive motion injuries. Female workers are more vulnerable to violence. Musculoskeletal injuries at work are a set of painful muscle, tendon, and nerve problems. Examples include carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, thoracic outlet syndrome, and neck strain syndrome. Risk factors in the workplace include lifting heavy objects, bending, reaching high, pushing and dragging heavy loads, working in uncomfortable body position and repeatedly.
Hello Dr. Zuraida, my name is Anut Sarah Sibakti, anak perempuan Mana. My matric number is 2771167. So the first issue is workplace discrimination. Workplace discrimination occur when employees are treated unfairly on the basis of their race, gender, national origin, sexual orientation, or religious belief. So according to William Institute of UCLA School of Law, 46% of non-binary employees have experienced unfair treatment in workplace. Example of discrimination that occur is being denied access to facilities such as restroom. So basically, these non-binary employees are not allowed to use men or women's restroom. So the second discrimination is being denied job promotion and opportunity. The third one was overwork or underwork. So basically, these employees are given a lot of work, and also they might also being not given any work at all, depending on the employers. And the fourth discrimination is being attacked with homophobic comment, either by their employers or by their co-workers. So the second issue is workplace violence. Workplace violence is a physical assault, harassment, homicide, imitation, or other threatening, disruptive behavior that might occur in workplace. So according to National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence, non-binary people experience physical violence, rape, and target of stalkers at some point in their life. Besides, Trade Union Congress also stated that 68% of non-binary employees experience sexual harassment in their workplace, but 45% of them did not report to the management. Next, I will moving on to the factors influencing job stress among women construction workers, which is due to an excessive workload. It is due to the intensely demanding nature of employees' working condition. For example, long working hours and frequently requires working on holidays can put pressure on employees, as there is a prior study which mentioned that long working hours might increase the workload that employees feel. Thus, an overwhelming workload might result in employees' mistake like informational errors or job execution mistakes that can be harmful to the project's ability to continue. Next is the factor of hazardous working condition, which is due to the poor implementation of safety policies and behavioral factors. As for the safety policies, organizations often ignore its duty and often blame workers for what happened. There were lack of proper security implementation and enforcement in the organization. For example, construction migrants are often victims of serious accidents at work as organizations do not observe the necessary safety measures for their workers. Besides, it is also due to the behavioral factors of the employees, as most of them lack of awareness of workplace hazards, which can lead to increased injuries and stress at work.
Next, I will explain about the factors influencing the women issues in workplace. First, staffing, that is more male than female staff. A workforce with a severely imbalanced male to female ratio will report more incidents of sexual harassment. Women will often experience sexual harassment in the workplace if the workplace is controlled by men. Sexual harassment will occur more often when there are more male workers than female workers because men are more likely to observe many women working. Sexual harassment of women often occurs as a result of physical attractiveness and attractive personality. Also, women with attractive bodies, stylish personalities, and alluring clothes are more likely to experience sexual harassment. Second, forced work posture and movements, that is ergonomics. Lifting, carrying or placing object, falls and repetitive motion or strain are the three most common causes of musculoskeletal injuries. The goal is to design workstations that allow workers to move as comfortably as possible and still maintain good posture. Health problems can result from limited movements, including pain and discomfort in the muscle of the body. Improperly configured workstation either do not use ergonomic furniture such as chairs and desks, or are not at all designed and adjust to the demands of the worker, such as chairs that are not adjust to the correct height or that do not match a person's body type and shape. This situation may make it difficult for employees to perform their duties to the best of their ability and force them to take time off.
So next part is gender dysphoria at work. The first factor is gender stereotype. Gender stereotype is a generalized view about what characteristics should a man or woman have and also what role should be performed by them. So basically, workplace discrimination that occur to non-binary employees is because of gender stereotype. This is because some employer and employee think that non-binary employee does not fit in the male or female stereotype. Some of them do not support the LGBT community, therefore being the target of discrimination in workplace. So the second factor is lack of internal control. The number of workplace violence such as sexual harassment and rape increases because of lack of internal control in the workplace. It means that the non-binary employee being the target of discrimination and harassment because they are not being protected by the management. So according to Human Rights Campaign Foundation, there are 51% of non-binary employees that hide their sexual orientation in workplace, even though there are inclusion, diversity, and anti-discrimination policy. Moving on to the prevention issues in workplace from the employer's aspect. As for the prevention of job stress, employers should take precautions to reduce the high levels of work stress that employees may experience. For example, by giving them a fair workload allocation in place and make sure they have a healthy work-life balance and are not pressured to work more than they are really paid to do, because this will raise their stress levels. As a prevention for hazardous working conditions among employees, employers should monitor the job site, provide a sufficient safety equipment, and promote a pleasant work environment for employees to guarantee that they can do their jobs in a safe environment. So construction companies in particular require safety training because prior studies have shown that there is insufficient knowledge of and training for safety issues there.
Prevention of gender issue in the workplace. So, first, society awareness, that is provide information. Companies should strive to provide adequate information to employees in the company, such as holding an annual seminar to review the sexual harassment policy, to explain what is considered sexual harassment and what will happen if someone has claimed sexual harassment. Next, hold a meeting to explain the anti-sexual harassment policy that all company employees must attend, so that everyone in the company understand the policy and consequence of sexual harassment.
So the next prevention is for the government. We think that the government should conduct amendment in the Employment Act, Occupational Safety and Health Act, Civil Rights Act, and also Equality Act in order to solve gender issue that occur in workplace, not only for men and women but also for non-binary people. We also think that the government should collab with the United Nations agencies such as United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, OCCHR, and also the International Labour Organization, ILO, in order to solve gender issues that occur in the field of occupational safety and health.
As a result, all genders of employees face risk at their workplace, whether it's through society, an employer, or the government. Each gender's risk need to be evaluated separately. However, measuring occupational exposure on women and transgender people is still not common. To make sure that all employees are protected equally at work, it should emphasize the biological difference between them. Each gender has specific physical and mental hazards. Due to occupational norms, males face mental risk even when their jobs carry larger physical risk. And due to their perceived submissiveness, women experience more workplace mental and sexual harassment. Women still stress about ergonomic hazards, especially if their job requires a lot of lifting, sitting, or standing for lengthy periods, or if their workplace is inadequate. Meanwhile, non-binary people face workplace discrimination, including denial of basic needs like toilets, harassment, and also assault. Comparing the global and Malaysian risk management context, it shows that our nation needs to innovate by building better and more control systems to protect all the employees, regardless of their gender, to secure their welfare and their rights. There should be no gender discriminations. Our legal system must be changed to allow equal labor market participation and occupational safety and health for all. Malaysia's rapid social and economic development requires a strong, efficient, and adaptable workforce. Malaysia relies on their people, hence a gender-sensitive workplace safety and health helps achieve this goal.